There it is. All right. Well, folks, that was what we call in America awful.
The
That
run
was real bad.
continues. The run continues,
Well,
man. This is
we're
not a lot of fun right now watching these games, bro.
no. But nevertheless, we've got a special guest this evening. We're gonna get into it with him. Oh, fuck. Welcome to the Snobby Boys. All right, everybody, welcome to the Snobby Boy Podcast. I'm your host, Colby. That's my homeboy Joe over there.
Good evening.
God damn it.
Afternoon. It's afternoon. We're on at a different time. Got to change up the vernacular.
Yep.
Vernacular,
and we'll be going
that's a
that
good word
way.
right there.
Right? Good one. Good one. Nice pull.
Thank
We'll
you.
be doing that for the rest of December, so make sure that you're here with us, typically right after the match, because we will be on with people from the homeland. So for our first guest of the holiday season, happy holidays to you all also, right? Our first guest of the holiday season, he's one of my very first contacts over there through the podcast, in the podcast community. He started off with full football. He's now on doing his own thing on TikTok. I want to introduce to you my good friend and Scouser, Reece, the Southeast Scouse Priest.
How we doing, boys?
What up, dog?
Welcome.
How we doing?
Not
Get
as good
the
as you
fuck
today.
out of here with that question.
Not as good as you today, my guy. Oh my lord!
No, excited to be here.
Good. We're glad to have you, dude, man. We've known each other now for what, 3.5 years?
Yeah.
Close to 4? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, mate. Long time.
We've had our ups and downs, but here we are. We're gonna do this legitimately. All differences only in football, of course, but we're super excited to have you in with us. Let's get in the match, and then we're gonna get to know you a little bit afterwards. Let everybody else get a peek of the Reece.
Let's go.
All right. So, Joe.
Yes.
Lead us in, bro.
So really, the biggest thing to note right off the bat was kind of lineup changes, at least on the City side. Big news that was dropping early was Eddie was getting a break, and Stefan Ortega was going to get the start, and Joško also was dropped in favor of Nathan Ake at that left back position. Definitely feels like after the last match where Joško was directly responsible for 2 of the 3 goals against Feyenoord that allowed them to get back in the match, he was given some time off. Ortega coming in for Eddie, seemed like that was more of a, depending on what you want to believe from what Pep was saying, it was just a rotational piece. Eddie also came out in that match and was way too out on the third Feyenoord goal that equalized. So maybe this was a message to the rest of the squad saying, if you continue to make poor choices and don't listen and aren't focused, that it's time to get dropped for some others. But I was really glad that Ruben was back. It was really nice to see him back in there. We were desperately missing his leadership in the back line. And even though he was there today, didn't really change the outcomes, unfortunately. It did not stop us from conceding goals continually once again, and early goals, because early on, once again, for City, Liverpool was able to take advantage of our back line. Akanji did a really poor job stopping the cross in from Mo Salah, and Kyle and Ruben, more Kyle than Ruben, but Kyle stopped tracking Gakpo, and credit to Gakpo for continuing his run to the back post and had a real easy tap in. So all three of our center backs there, not great in that defending. Reece, first goal, what do you think, man?
It's one of those classic ones where someone stands up Mo Salah, and you think he's got nowhere to go, and he'll just pull up something like that, just a pass, just a simple cross, but he makes it look so effortless, and he just sees the run from Gakpo coming in. Which, do you know what? Since we've signed Gakpo, I've not been totally convinced under Klopp, and it seems like he's had the Euros, time away from club, representing the Netherlands, obviously, and he's come back this season under Slot, who again, a Dutch manager, whether that's helped or not, but he looks a total different player this season. He's every time he's taken to the pitch this year, I've just thought he's got something in him in this game. There's something that he's going to do that's going to change the game, and he showed it today. I mean, he probably could have had 2 or 3 goals today with some of the chances that he had and the space that he created for himself, but it's one of them. I think that kind of set the tone for the game. And then obviously going 1-0 up, I felt like after 20 minutes, City kind of grew into the game a lot more. You had a lot more of the ball, a lot more turnovers were going your way. And it kind of showed the side to Liverpool that hasn't really been shown this season because we haven't had to, but the resilience in us of how good we can defend as a unit and how we can just shut teams out. Whatever they're trying, we can just shut it out. And I think we've got a really good core this season, and versatility as well this season of just playing the game in 3 or 4 different ways, whatever's going to get us a result.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, right?
Shape. Yep. You guys held shape. You committed to everything you were doing. That was the really big difference in this match between us and you guys. I felt like we got dispossessed more than Reagan did through 3 Exorcist movies in the first 20 minutes. And through all that, the one thing I did want to point out is the fact that I felt Nunez, where he wasn't amazing on the ball, but his tenacity, especially through the first half, was something to note. He's really, really trying to dig his way into that 11, and I respect that out of him. But on the whole, our shape was atrocious. We were having Mateus Nunes, Bernardo Silva sitting on the back line at points in time through the match. We had no recognizable number 6 whatsoever.
That part was the biggest frustration for me. Was the whole first half could not tell what we were playing. Occasionally, Akanji was stepping in and sitting in that holding spot, but when he did that, Kyle and Nathan were still playing like fullbacks and getting wide and high. That left Diaz all by himself. If we're going to play where our center back is stepping into that holding role a la treble winning season, that's fine. But the outside backs, they have to stay home and provide cover. And then at other times,
100%.
It was Bernie and Gundo sitting in the middle, and then they were just roaming everywhere. They were going, and when one went, the other one went too. So there was literally nobody sitting in the middle. And credit to Liverpool for exploiting what they saw, because there was no discernible organization or consistency on who was playing that role. And it was just I was so frustrated by watching that. It got better in the second half, but golly, the lack of shape was just astounding. And if that's going to be the case, if we're going to be all over the place, then you have to have guys like Rodri, who are big, athletic, and physical. We don't got guys like that. Liverpool now has those guys. They have Gravenberch, they have Soboslai, they have McAllister, all guys that had more legs than our dudes in the middle. So if we're going to be all kinds of out of shape, we got to have dudes who can run. And we don't got that right now, unfortunately. And Liverpool's midfield showed the athleticism, paciness, and drive that we didn't have today, unfortunately. That's where the game was won and lost, in my opinion.
I think it really showed today I think it really showed today that when Rodri's not on your team, it's like everyone just doesn't know what page you're on. Like when he's playing, everyone sings off the same hymn sheet. Like they know they've got the freedom to roam out wide or push forward because Rodri is that centre point in the middle that will just turn it over. But take him out, and it doesn't look. You don't look together. You look like a team of 11 individuals, not a team, which isn't good moving forward for Pep or City, really. Can't have that sort of mindset.
No. And I've been saying that a lot over the last few weeks, especially when we're in the attack. And it seems like everybody wants to play personal ball and not team ball.
Exactly.
I'm glad you recognize it because that was one of the things I've been seeing. And like I said, what is your take on Szoboszlai this season? Because from our perspective, mine specifically, he seems like he's really come into the side, and they used him a lot in the press, which that worked out for you guys plenty of times. I mean, it at least gave you shots on goal. What's your take on him?
Do you know what? When he came in last season, he had that goal obviously against Aston Villa that was early on, and I think we all, without being disrespectful to him, we kind of got sold a dream as Liverpool fans of this perfect number 10. He was our next Coutinho, and then obviously the injury happened to him, and he's not looked the same since he's come back. I think the goal he scored against Southampton was his first in the Premier League since like March last season. And you think for a number 10 playing at a side like Liverpool, one of the best teams in the world, like a lot of history, you need better numbers than that, in my opinion. I mean, it's one of them. If we was sort of a sixth, maybe seventh sort of side, that's okay. Because like you say, he's got the pressing ability, helps us in that aspect. But numbers-wise, he needs to do a hell of a lot more for me anyway, to be convinced that he is our man going forward. I'm not 100% sold on him still. He had a good game today, don't get me wrong, but it needs to be week in, week out, consistent 7, 8 out of 10s. Like your Mo Salahs, your Van Dijks, Diaz this season, Gakpo this season. They're giving consistently good games without looking like they're doing a lot. Szoboszlai, if he doesn't look like he's doing a lot, chances are he is not doing a lot. And that's something I think he does need to work on.
This is why I love talking to you about things. You keep it real, bro. Keeping it real.
I was super impressed with Virgil van Dijk today. That was a throwback, utterly dominant performance from that dude. And that
was like 2019, 2020 Van Dijk.
Yeah, that was like vintage him. And it was driving me absolutely ape shit watching him get free runs on every set piece. We weren't putting a body on them. Like, that's their dude. That's the guy they're aiming for in every set piece. And he keeps getting his head on the ball. Put a fucking body on the dude. Somebody, please. But he was fantastic today. He shut any chance we had down with long balls. They weren't great accuracy wise when we actually hit long balls in the second half for Erling to run onto. But man, that was a vintage Virgil, and when he's going like that, you guys are very difficult to beat.
Well,
I was a bit worried at the start because, that's what I was going to say. Like it was a worry at the start for me because obviously Konate is out now, and I was like, Joe coming in, are we now going to see Virgil exposed? Because Konate has been phenomenal this season. I'd even probably argue that he's probably been slightly better than Van Dijk in terms of his aerial ability, the way he just stops attacks, like his tackle percentage. And I thought him being out today, it could have gone the other way and Virgil could have been exposed. But like you say, it was a proper throwback Virgil today. Like he looked in his prime again, which I loved.
I did not.
Neither did
but
I.
but man, as a football fan, like you gotta game records respects game, man. And when you see a performance like that, you gotta call it for what it is, man. He was better than us today. The whole squad really was, and I was very surprised when kind of the theme for most of y'all's chances was oftentimes it was the pressure. It wasn't like building from the back, long balls, or connecting a lot of passes. It was just work rate, winning the ball back from our midfielders and center backs in dangerous places. And I about walked out of the room when Akanji
Listen,
half-assed that toe poke and Salah was like in. I was like, oh, that's it. That's a wrap. I'm about to walk out this room and look real stupid in front of my kids. And I could not believe that didn't ripple the back of the net, man. I was shocker. It should have been buried, but golly, that was. What are you enjoying a laugh over there?
yeah.
Are you imagining what that looks like?
No, yes, in part, yes. And I'm thinking to myself, what was I doing? That's right. I went and made a gobbler sandwich. I was so pissed off.
Hey, comfort food in moments of trying
Yeah,
times.
dude. I mean, I need to get a foam brick that I can throw at my TV. I think for this
or into
season.
The ground. Yeah.
Or yeah. Well, no, because I mean, even that foam brick might go through my brittle floor. I mean, yeah. The sandwich was good though. It was really good. I got some smoked turkey from the store because there was no turkey left over, and
y'all did your job then on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. Well, suffice to say, it was at her family, so there wasn't really a lot to take home when there was 28 people.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I had to come home and get the lunch meat. Yeah, we really had going into the second half. I mean, yes, I guess it was better, but we really had no shape again.
Do you know what things changed for you when Savinho and Jeremy Doku come on? I wasn't so worried about Savinho, but I saw Doku come on against Trent, and I thought, oh, this is just going to be hell. And I heard Neville, obviously we're on Sky Sports, so he was saying that Trent did well against Doku. I didn't see that at all. All I see was Trent getting stood up and just getting breezed. Like, yes, Trent gets back, but it's not him getting back and Doku still going. Doku pulls up and looks for it, so naturally he's given Trent the time to get back. I was worried, so worried about Doku. Every time I got on the ball, I was like, this is going to be something here.
He played a lot more the way that we would like to see him play in this match, I have to say. But I also see the reverse of that being on this side. Like, I saw Trent keeping up with him, especially when he was pushing him back into the corner. I thought he did a really good job of that today. I mean, yes, Doku definitely did make a couple of breaks that could have been worrisome for the other side, but I felt like Trent held that corner down very well against him and really anybody who came down in his area. And I don't really give TAA a whole lot of credit. Today he did his job.
That was definitely a turning point when those two came on. We got a little bit more shape, but we still had at that point Bernie and Akanji kind of playing that holding spot, and Bernie can play just about everywhere, but that's not where he's most effective. Obviously, he's being asked to fill in other places because we're missing John Stones, we're missing Kovacic, we're missing obviously Rodri for the remainder of the season. So the options in that spot are just severely limited at this point. So it was great to get some wingers on, but at that point you have 5'9", 8 Bernie Silva playing a holding midfield role. That's not a recipe for success. And we learned when Akanji has previously played this position, that's not where I prefer him. He's much better when he's playing his natural position as center back. He just doesn't have the same level of ball skills as someone like John Stones being asked to play that role, or just confidence and comfortability, because he hasn't played there as nearly as much. So I think that got exposed quite a bit today too, with having him a little higher up, because he's been so effective as a center back. Yes, Colby, way to raise your hand, bud.
What the fuck was Rico doing?
Bro, I can't tell you the number of times I yelled that exact same sentence multiple times today. Rico, get your ass back. You're jogging, bro.
What is his designation? We don't know anymore. Because at this point, he's just the 10th man running around doing what the fuck ever, and he's never in the right fucking spot. Ever.
He was abysmal today. It was not great. I can't remember.
He let you down.
Yes. They're trying him out in the specific midfield role now, and either he isn't getting enough direction, or he's not listening to what his direction has been given, or whatever. But it's just not. It's not look good. He needed to come off much earlier, and at this point, and Kyle Walker is not past Kyle Walker at right back at this point. But I would rather have him out there at this point. Rico, take a breather, recollect yourself, and let's get other options in the midfield, because he's not looked great for a couple of matches at this point.
Listen, K-Dub needs to go to fucking Saudi or come over here to the MLS. It's over. It's over. The dream is over, dude. He is not the speedster anymore. We said it last week. We said it the week before. He's not 2021, 2022 Kyle Walker anymore.
No.
And we have no answer at right back at this point, because we can't even count on Rico to do his fucking job, even if he was to be slotted back there, because he always likes to poke himself up in the midfield and be a full-on fullback. It doesn't work anymore.
It's like he's trying to do a Trent job, but without the Trent qualities.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
exactly.
Trent's ideal for it. He's got the close control. He can find a pass. He can dribble. Like, he is your ideal fullback to be slotting into midfield on the attack. Not many fullbacks can do it.
And there's people out there that are arguing the fact that Rico's a natural midfielder. Well, if he's a natural midfielder, then I'm a monkey's uncle, because that's...
Tell me you don't watch football without telling me you don't watch football.
Right. It's really absurd to think, and we touched a little bit about this too. Is it's like Pep is caught in the insanity ring. He's doing the same shit, expecting a different result every time. Like, this is an American football where you can keep running it down someone's throat to the point where you'll break them down. No, you're just going to run yourself out of energy in this sport, and it's going to serve no purpose later in the match when we may need a goal. Even with the changes in pace, with the substitutions going in the second half, guys, it wasn't really, obviously didn't pay off.
I never felt like we were actually going to get back in the match. There wasn't a point, even in the second half, where it looked better, but I still didn't really feel like we were really threatening Kelleher. I don't think he had to make one difficult stop the entire match, and we really didn't put them under pressure. So I was like, I was expecting this kind of result. I was hoping for better, but this is kind of what I expected coming into this match. But then sealed it away with Diaz getting caught at the end there. Once again, too long on the ball from our defenders. It's like they were inviting so much pressure on yourself. Like, that's not how we play. You one touch passing max, like 2-touch maximum before you get rid of it. And we're like waiting until very quick and hungry guys for the ball are on top of us and gets poked away. And then Ortega's got to come out and do something, because he was a little too far back. I think he could, if he started his position a little further, he might have gotten to that ball a little quicker. But credit to Liverpool for getting the ball first, getting a foot on it, and I think it's as clear of a penalty as you can possibly get at that point. And Ortega guessed the right way, but when you put the ball into the side netting like that, I don't care which keeper you are, you're not stopping it, even if you guess the correct way.
Right.
So Mo Salah does what he does with PKs and buries it, and that was that.
That was that.
Then
Are you guys worried about Foden this season?
I mean,
He looks a total tell of who he has been.
Yes and no, and here's why I say both. Again, we said this before we even got on here. Our whole squad has been playing individual ball since September because we've never had any cohesion. We have been one injury after the other, stack. Here we are, beginning of December. Not anyone has been able to play together, and when you have somebody like Holland, somebody like Foden, somebody like Doku, somebody like Savinho, somebody like Jack, somebody like Bernie, when you're playing them all in the forward position, they all want the fucking ball too. They all want to fucking take it in and score a worldie. But we paid Holland for a reason. And Foden is our homegrown. We should be trying to find ways for him to get through the line and do some work. And we're not doing that. And that goes for literally for everybody. It's been a continuous theme. I don't necessarily think this season is Foden's fault, and as to where he's at in his stats, there's still a whole lot of time left for him to play and get something on the board. But until everybody starts gelling together and understanding and nonverbal communicating with each other, like, yo, it's my turn. Let me cut this in, drag this guy out. We're going to continue to see not just Foden look this way, but Holland and all of the others that I put out there.
Yeah. I'm more concerned less about like individual players at this point. To me, you just look across the board at all of them, and it's not right between the years right now. Their confidence is shot. This losing streak with one draw mixed in, which felt like more of a loss than a draw. That to me is my biggest concern. It's the lack of belief right now in one another, and that we're going to be able to get ourselves out of this. And the confidence really, I think, is the problem. I don't think it's necessarily a skill issue or an injury thing with him. I think it's a lack of consistency and then a confidence issue with everybody. And once we get to this point where it's been so many losses in a row, everybody's going to feel that pressure, and they're going to start pressing and try to do something to pull everyone out of it. But it's got to be more of a together mentality. And with the lack of consistency of any kind of regular lineup, it's just not been great across the board. So I don't know if I'm not necessarily concerned about Phil and his performance. I'm more concerned with the overall mentality of everybody and the confidence level. Because I think once they all start doing that, it brings everybody out of that funk. Good question, though. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll even just go on to state that as many people out there this week said that this was the match that would, if we won this match, it would help reroute the season. After what we saw today, yeah, it was that match. Nottingham Forest is not a good place to turn around, especially on a short week. And then we go right to the fucking weekend again on Saturday. No season is ever won in November, December. But at the end of the day, the way this is looking, if we can't get through some of the bigger teams, especially you guys, and try to nip you guys in the bud a little bit, first half of the beginning of the second half, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of work to be done for us in order to get back. I mean, 11-point disparity isn't so much. We've done it before. You've said it yourself. we have to be a fully fit squad, and everybody needs to get on the same fucking page if we can ever think that we're going to be in any way in contention for this league. Otherwise, it might as well just be yours.
That's the thing. I feel like there's situations where, like you say, 11 points at this point in the season isn't drastic, but I think there's a difference between being 11 points clear and almost getting unlucky in games to being 11 points behind and not looking like going on to do anything in games. I mean, like today, it's probably about 15, 20 minutes total that I thought, oh, do you know what, City could actually do something here? And I was surprised because I've never, maybe once I've had that feeling playing City where I think, yeah, we're actually on top here. Like, we're going to go on and get a win. It's always like, if we played you and we've got a goal, it's like, it's all right because City are going to come back. You almost start telling yourself that as a fan outside of City, like, they're going to come back, they're going to bring something. But today, it just wasn't there. And it hasn't been for the last few weeks, to be honest. Like, no one's really been thinking, yeah, City are going to do something. I mean, like that final result in the week, that should never happen, regardless if you're City, you're Liverpool, you're United, whoever. 3-0 up at home with, 15 minutes to go. It should never happen.
It feels like that's where we lost today.
Yeah.
That moment. Yeah. If we go in and win that 3-0, I think the whole vibe and confidence level and mood around the squad is totally different. 180-degree difference coming to this one. So when you allow those 3 goals in the last 15 minutes, it just, like I said, it felt way more like a loss than a draw. And you could just see it in the body language as soon as that first one went in, that it just, the light switch flipped. And I would have felt much better going into this one, obviously, if that hadn't happened. But as soon as that midweek match resulted the way it did, I was almost like this was an inevitable outcome at this point.
Surely that.
Yeah.
So that really concludes the match, guys. I mean, we all saw it. It was shit for us, great for them. They take it on. The big thing is that going into Forest, keep the faith.
Nobody went off injured.
Nobody went off injured.
Like, what else?
There's a plus.
That's the only play we could hang our hats on at this point.
Right.
I did want to mention and see what Reece thought about the home crowd giving it to Pep there at the end, giving him the business about getting sacked in the morning, and then he turned around and held up the 6 fingers. Saw some people saying that means he's rattled. I felt like it was just all in fun between him and the crowd. I didn't see it that way, but I thought that was an interesting moment, and I'm sure we're going to see that still image of him doing this in the crowd, all that stuff all week.
I think that's Pep almost acknowledging the situation you're in. Like he's not shying away from the fact that, City aren't who they have been the last 7-8 years at the moment. I think from the Liverpool fan point of view, it's kind of like, you've given us hell and taken trophy after trophy after trophy off of us for 7-8 years. Now we're finally getting to a time, or we're in a time now where we can give you a bit of stick and not get anything back. You guys haven't got anything to come back at us with at the moment. So yeah, it's all part of the game, isn't it? And I think Pep doing that just shows that he's not too worried about the situation you're in. Obviously, it's not great, but he's not like out of ideas, I don't think. And friendly jests like that, I'm all for it in football. I'm all for it.
Yep.
I don't think Pep can be rattled ever.
Yeah. No, because he always takes the piss out of it.
Yeah.
Always. I'm very certain though that in the morning we will see, once everybody's stewed in it, that type of rhetoric where it's like, where Pep's lost it. Why did we sign him for 2 more years? Like, I really feel like that might be the story tomorrow morning. I think
I can definitely see it fucking happen. Because they already started talking about it on the broadcast over on our side. The NBC folks were speculating, what if Pep decided just to hang it up and walk away? Because he said that it's just a piece of paper, and if he wanted to leave, he would just walk. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you think a competitive dude like Pep would just quit mid-season like that? Like, it's
Trying
just,
so hard for a headline.
yes,
Oh,
that's
it's just
exactly
that's
right.
all it is. It's
Big
the
time.
fucking media, man. The
They
fucking
drive me
media.
bonkers, man. I almost put the whole game on mute at this point.
Oh,
They were
hey,
obnoxious the whole game. What up, Luke?
what's up, Luke? What's up, Steve? Sorry we didn't get to say it earlier. We did it in the chat, but what's up, Maine? Everybody else, Hoang, he was in here earlier. I'm not sure if he's still here, but hey, bud, we see you. We see you.
I've got something as well, just quickly. So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans, very like,
Oh,
in my
Lord.
opinion, this season they are unbearable. I can't stand seeing Arsenal post this season playing the victim and everything. But all I'm seeing from them is that if Liverpool bottle this now, it's the biggest bottle in history, yada, yada, yada. I would argue that, was it last season or season before? Whatever season where they done 280 odd days at top to then lose to you, I don't think we'll ever see a bigger bottle than that in the Premier League future.
Nope.
They are the ultimate
I have to agree with that.
100%. They can go do one because I'm glad that we all can agree on how obnoxious the folks from Arsenal have been all season.
I can't stand them.
Dude,
like Arteta's
so
won
obnoxious.
one FA Cup, 2 FA Cups in his stint there, and he's being compared to Pep and Klopp. Come on, man. Like, chill out.
Not even close. Y'all are not on what? Y'all not on this level.
No. And it's they are. That is, honestly, of all the fan bases at this point, they're in my book right now, especially in this season, worse than United. They literally will pull shit out of their ass and tell you it's gold.
And believe that shit too.
And
100% genuine belief.
They'll double down on it.
Their own bullshit.
Yes,
literally,
exactly.
They really believe it. It's so delusional, man. Literally, like, and I mean, there have been teams over the course of the last few years that have gone deep into the delusion, but not as bad as the Gooners are right now. It's serious. They all need help, professional help, for sure.
I need the straight jackets on.
Delusion is a disease.
City pullback. It is a fucking disease, man.
City Pool never lost. City Pool never win.
Nope. Let's get into a little bro talk Q&A with Reece, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up our segment with him. But we're just want to, first for me, I've known you for a while, gone through a few Christmases together, said Merry Christmas and whatnot. But tell us, and everybody in here, that like what is the typical Christmas for the Hibbirds? Like, what do you guys do that makes your Christmas special for you every year?
Do you know what? I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I've not got that kind of family where we're all close knit and sort of in each other's pockets. But generally, for me, I mean, obviously, the last 3 Christmases coming up to the 4th now, I've had my fiance, so things have been a little bit different for me. But it's normally just sort of being at home, waking up, having the generic present time and stuff like that. And then sometimes I'll go and see my dad for the afternoon. But it's pretty much just having whatever family we do have together, watching the sort of shit TV that you watch, playing the shit games that we all play on Christmas Day, and just having a laugh, really. Like, we've never really been a family where Christmas has been about, like, the presents and, like, what we're doing as such. It's more just who we're seeing and just enjoying the time off with the family that we don't normally get to do every year, or throughout the year, I should say. This Christmas will be very different for me and Liv because we are moving into our flat a week before Christmas, our first time together. So absolutely buzzing for that. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, Christmas Day is going to be completely different this year. Waking up together in our own place and then seeing everyone throughout the day. So excited now for this new part of our lives where Christmas, and now we can set our own Christmas like traditions, I guess,
Mhm.
Exactly.
and do our own thing regularly and stuff. So, yeah, buzzing for this year.
Then maybe
Who's
maybe this is the year.
ones whose traditions you use, or who white lights or multicolored lights, those kind of things. Because that was when me and my wife moved in together for our first Christmas. It was before we were married, and I was adamant I wanted my real Christmas tree and I wanted my multicolored lights, and she was, I want an artificial tree and white lights on that bad boy. And I was like, this is a problem because we're gonna have to figure this out. So we compromised on, I got my real tree and she got the white lights. So that's the piece. It's time to start figuring out is got to give a little bit to get a little bit at the same time. So
I love the white, blue, and the golds in the lights. I'm a massive fan. I'm not too big of a fan on the multicolored. Real Christmas trees I can get behind. I think it's just having the space and the maintenance really that puts people off in it.
Absolutely.
But certainly, like further on down the line, I would love a real Christmas tree with all the white, blue lights on it and stuff like that, and all the decks up. And
funny story about that, real quick.
Good.
I've been getting real Christmas trees since I was born, going out cutting them, right? Never once had an issue with bugs or anything like that, being in there or anything. First time I get a real tree with my wife, a fucking what was it? Praying mantis thing was in there, and we woke up in the morning and they were fucking everywhere in our apartment. I was like, are you kidding me right now? I've never had this problem. My wife is concerned about having a real Christmas tree because of this, and now it happens the first time. I was like, I'm never going to get a real Christmas tree again. But thankfully, we were able to sort it out. Oh, Steve, we got like 5 trees in this house now, bro. This is totally different.
They're extra about the Christmas in the Mavor house, bro.
All the girls got their own little skinny tree to decorate in their rooms. We got the main tree. Gonna have another one down here for soon. In this corner behind me will be one being displayed here pretty soon. So,
Joe, you're gonna be very disappointed when you come over.
Why is that?
Colbys still got his tree up.
Listen, to make it better, just to make the aesthetic right, I'll go find some air fresheners that smell like pine.
Appreciate that.
I love that how Americans, they're so big on like Halloween, Thanksgivings, Christmas. Like you lot just go all out, and we've lost that a lot in the UK. Like whether it's inflation going up or what, I don't know, but
no, dude. Well, for me growing up, we didn't get Halloween decorations because it celebrated the devil. Thanksgiving, like my mom already kind of like she decorates in a very country-esque fashion. So it doesn't really need much sprucing around that time. So not a whole lot of decoration, just a lot of food. Christmas is typically minimal, and I live very much that way. The only decoration I have in my house is said Christmas tree. I have no time for that.
You're a Brit living over the pond, Colby. That's what it is.
I mean, so I'm pretty sure since the last time we talked, I haven't told you about my ancestry. I am 61% British.
I knew it.
English.
You're on the wrong side of the pond.
I am on the wrong side of the fucking pond.
Seeking to bring Colby back home.
My 5th great grandfather is from York.
That's not too far back either.
Exactly. And he picked up a little Irish biddy on the way to America.
Standard.
And then that's how that part of the family started.
Standard.
So that's a lot of ancestry trees. There's a bit of Irish dibbled in there somewhere.
Yep.
Them Irish got about back in the day.
And on my dad's side, one of them was Welsh. So it's in
my
there.
name's actually Welsh.
Is that why it's the BIRD?
Reece, first name.
Oh,
Welsh.
Reece. Is
It's a
it
Welsh
now?
name.
Is it?
Typically
Well,
RHYS, that version of
Yeah.
Reece, but
right. Okay. Makes sense. So we're probably in some way, shape, or form, knowing how things were back in the day, we're probably related. Maybe.
probably.
We're rolling with it.
There was a subtle 1-2 punch in there, but also it's funny because we all know it.
That's how shit becomes truth, man. You just speak something enough, and then it becomes fact. So we're just gonna go with that from now on.
That's what the
That's
woke
how-
nation say anyway.
Exactly. That's what they do. They just say, I said it and it's true.
You have to believe
Therefore,
Exactly. You say it long enough with enough conviction that it means it's true.
Let's go. That deserves to do these. Let's go. All right. So on to, I guess, continuing the Christmas tradition talk. What is a necessary flick to watch you and Liv every Christmas?
What, a
Do you
film?
have one? Yeah.
Every year without fail is Elf.
Let's go.
It doesn't matter what point leading up to the Christmas period it is. Religiously, it will get watched at least once, probably at least twice.
Yeah. That's
Me growing up. The one I
modern
watched
day
growing up
classic.
religiously was the Polar Express.
Dude, okay. Let's get into this because the Polar Express, the Polar Express and the Grinch, I believe they came out around the same time. Or
Yeah,
in
around
the
about
same
2000.
time period. Right. I was at that point where I was like, I fully hated Christmas. I was Ebenezer at that point. And my mom dragged me to go watch it with my sister. She was young at the time. And those two movies, but more so Polar Express, made me fall in love with Christmas all over again.
Yeah, 100%.
That is such a good film. Joe left.
Polar Express I can literally watch throughout the year. Doesn't have to be Christmas.
No.
I just love the story behind it and just the way it's all. I mean, for that level of sort of CGI in that time,
Right.
incredible.
Right.
Like, it still passes now as good CGI.
Yeah, dude. Like, that train ride. There's so many lessons that you learn on that train ride.
Yeah.
About yourself, because you see yourself in each one of those children.
100%.
And you're just like, fuck, dude. Yeah, it's wild.
Such a good film.
It really, really is. Joe.
I missed all of that because I was super frozen or something. So I'm assuming we were talking about Christmas movies.
Yes, we were talking about Christmas movies. Victor Freeze.
Fast that I was running 630 megabytes per second, so I don't know what the hell.
Well, Netflix be lying anyways.
So what was the answer? What answer were we talking? I heard train ride.
Well, can you deduce it from that?
I'm assuming Polar Express.
Yes.
There it is.
Can't go wrong with Tom Hanks, man. Can't.
You can't. Well, you can. Because he might be on that list.
Don't say that.
Crickets. No, it is. He also said Elf. Elf has definitely become the modern day classic. Like right now, I believe it started actually on the 29th. They have been running Elf on TBS non-fucking stop.
Do you know what? I literally watched it today.
Did you?
That was today's choice of film.
He woke up before the match, got himself sorted out, said, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. You got the elf spirit, it was, I think, maybe. Maybe Joe. Maybe we need to watch Elf.
That's what it was. That was the difference right there. I didn't watch Elf this way. In fairness to us, a little earlier in the day, so slower start.
Can you, Reece? Can you fill us in on the Queen's King speech at 3 p.m. on Christmas Day?
No.
No.
It's a straight answer to that. I'm
Godless swine!
I am the least patriotic UK person you'll ever meet. Like the royal family and stuff, I've got no part of it at all. Don't like it. I don't like them. I think they're all a little bit dodgy in their own aspects, and I try and avoid it as much as I can.
Do they usually come
Fair
on and
point.
do like a thing on Christmas Day? And
Yeah,
like
it's
So-
like
Yeah, so there's obviously there was the Queen's speech for years. Now it's obviously the King's speech.
King, right?
It's all just PR. That's what it screams to me. It's PR. It's something that he's got to do, and it's just a load of rich waffle.
I love that word.
Rich waffle. That's all it is.
Well, you know, that's. I mean, it's still in its own way. I feel like it's kind of nice that you do get that. I mean, I don't even know that we got that from our own president over the last 4 years. I don't know if he could even talk or even say Merry Christmas. So I don't know. I don't know. I think when we're on the outside looking in from either perspective, it's kind of cool to like hear about those customs and like things that we don't normally get over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think it's kind of cool that they do that. I mean, whether it's a PR stunt or not, it doesn't really, don't really happen over here. So I have to commend that whole little bit that they even do, but maybe that's my roots speaking to me right now. Maybe they're like, hey, tell them how. No. I'll just
The big thing Christmas Day in the UK, which a lot of people will see as tradition, is the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special.
Okay, speak on this.
So a Gavin and Stacey's it's Welsh and Essex, like a sitcom series basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the main two. They're like a couple. One lives in Essex, one lives in Wales. They're all their families are there and stuff like that, and it's just about them navigating life really. And there's a Christmas special that goes on every Christmas. I think there's a new one actually coming out this year, the new Christmas special, which everyone is just like doing backflips for. That's pretty much the main UK household tradition on Christmas Day, I would say, at a guess.
I'm gonna have to look into this. I need to know.
Look at it. It's really it's simple humor.
Is it dry?
It's
Is it like
it.
are we doing The Office again? Is it like The Office and Shameless like had a baby?
It's a little bit more moist than that, not as dry.
Moist.
I can take that. I like the way that's going. Okay, I'm definitely going to check
It's
it
good
out.
though. It is good.
Good shit. Do you have any other Christmas questions for him? Do you have any Christmas questions for us?
Ooh. Yeah, I guess what's Christmas Day look like to your average American household?
Well, that depends on your income. I don't know. I guess for me, it's immediate family only. For me, I'll get up and I make coffee and hot cocoa, or and then we do the Santa saw the cookies, because we got kids and stuff. Santa saw the cookies. We're there, and he ate them and had some of his milk, and then there's the presents, and I think being a parent, it's a little bit different than being young again and having that Christmas. But I mean, like growing up, Christmas was always just let the kids dig in, and the parents kind of exchange gifts in the background while the kids are doing their thing. Do you have Christmas crackers? Now, you see, I don't want our English getting messed up here because is a cracker or is it like a sweet thing?
Christmas cracker
Because
to us, we're talking about the things you pull. Pulling crackers.
oh, do you know? Yes, yes, but no.
Okay.
Like if you have it at a Christmas party, maybe, but like it isn't like we shove them full in the stocking. Or maybe there is a family who does that. I'd be honest with you, not one tradition from over there came with my grandfather's family. Not one. We get the very I got the very Italian Christmas. Even my English descendant grandfather thought he was like, so he moved to Boca Raton after he retired, which is a very big Jewish community in America. And he also, because he married my grandmother, whom was Italian, he thought he was Italian. And then when he moved down to Florida, he was like an Italian Jew, right? But he definitely spent on us, right? It was very he made Christmas very nice, but Italian Christmases are very simple, and it's all centered around being together. Like you do your things in the morning with your family, and then you buzz off to Nona or Nunny or whatever you call her's house, and everybody gets together, and you have a big pasta dish, big pasta dinner. Typically, the seven fishes meal, if you know about that. That typically, for most Catholics, actually happens on Christmas Eve. My grandmother chose to do it on Christmas Day. So, what about you, Joe?
Typically, now that I'm in dad mode, we are also kind of off on the like having to do the Santa piece. Jordan is well aware at this point. Elliot's about to turn 10, so we're about out of that piece. So typically, we get up first thing, and the four of us will do our stockings together. Usually on our bed, and everybody just opens their stuff there, and then we'll transition downstairs to open some gifts, and then we'll have like a pretty light breakfast of like bacon and cinnamon rolls and coffee and kind of deal. Something light to eat before opening gifts. Typically, morning time is just the four of us only, and then my parents are a little farther away, so we usually will get together with Steph's side, either go to their house or have everybody come over for the meal, and then it kind of exchange gifts with the extended family a little bit, and then play board games, watch Christmas movies until it's time to crash out. So for me, it's always been pretty standard Christmas. It's been stockings first thing. Back when the kids were into the Santa piece, it had to do all of that kind of stuff too.
Interesting.
But it's stockings presents, a little bit of food, and then start preparing ourselves for the family time and just being together.
What's the American Christmas Day dinner consist of?
Tough because with so many different cultures coming together, it's there's not like a standard one. I think if you look on like a Christmas card of a family sitting down to a dinner, it's probably your standard ham, maybe a little turkey, and all the other fixins. But if you're like Colby mentioned, if your family's Italian, or if you're any other culture, you might have your specific dishes that you go with on the day, because there's so many difference. Some people do fish. Yeah. I don't know.
There's a really good Jamaican spot here where I live, and they actually do catered orders because we have a decent Jamaican community here. They do catering for oxtail. I'm assuming jerk oxtail is one of the big things that they eat on Christmas. So they offer that, and it becomes a big thing right during the holidays that they start selling. They really try pushing it, and it's so good. It's so damn good. This year, my mom said she's doing mini beef wellies, so I was like,
Ooh.
Yeah, over the last like 10, I'll say 10, 15 years, um, my mom has done a prime rib, and she usually does like a Yorkshire pudding on the side to sop up all the juices, and then like either asparagus or a good green and a good potato. Whether it's a mash or it's a jacket, it's still typically that. Um, what else? What are some other
Yorkshire
traditions
puddings
I've
you
had?
cannot beat.
No, you can't. No, you cannot.
A good Yorkshire
Well,
pudding is top tier.
yeah, it's typically either that or like what she'll call a popover, which is really no different. It's just a mini York pudding. That's all it
Yeah.
is. Super super good. Steve said he used to have goose, but chicken or turkey now. Pigs in a blanket. All right,
Or
are
pigs and
your pigs in a
blankets.
are your pigs in blanket like bangers in croissant, or like what is the pig in blanket over there? Because we have a very
Pork
specific one over
sausage
here.
wrapped in bacon.
Yeah, ours
And they're normally
is
cocktail sausages.
ours is what is called a little smoky, and it's like a hot dog, but it's like super super smoky, and it's wrapped in Pillsbury croissant pastry, and that is our pig
Okay.
in blanket. Yeah.
I feel like I need to try that.
I will see. You're kind of giving me like Greg's sausage roll vibes with what you're talking about, and like that's oh my god, dude! There are so many things I want to try over there. From all the people that we've gotten to talk to in between the time that you and I have talked last, I have learned so much about just the food culture alone, and like there's so many things I need to know. And honestly,
And try.
so big Steve posted a picture of fish and chips wherever he was at, and he had mushy peas, and it still gives me like I'm going to use Exorcist vibe again. That coming out of her mouth, that's the aesthetic it gives. But
Yeah,
it's
I'm not
making
a
me
mushy peas fan.
okay. As long as that's like and I'm not throwing shade at Big Steve. I'm just saying, like, I'm a little bit curious, just a little bit. Like, if we all go over there and one of the boys gets some, and I'm like, can I just get a spoon and like, I might, but it's scary because from what I know, there's not a lot of salt.
Uh, n- no,
Seasonings don't exist.
no, it's very. I love seasonings. I'll season whatever can be seasoned. I'll season. But if I go to the chip shop and get a batter sauce and chips or whatever, I will always ask that I do my own salt and vinegar because if they do it, it's like 10 grains of salt and a spit of vinegar. Whereas I need that shit soaked in vinegar, and I need the salt going
Thank
on that so it
you.
sticks to the vinegar.
Thank
But
you.
I need
Let's
that shit.
go.
I'm squeezing that bottle.
Let's go. Dude,
Absolutely.
every time we go to Five Guys, yep, the whole bottle of malt vinegar might as well be gone.
Steve's a mushy peas fan.
Steve seems to like the mushy peas with mint. That's
Oh,
interesting.
mint sauce on roast lamb.
Oh, like Indian mint sauce?
No,
No. Okay.
no. So Indian mint sauce is very different to the generic roast dinner mint sauce.
See, you guys all got me confused because like you make curry sauces, and to me that's when I hear curry, I think like turmeric and masala and all kinds of
Very much so. Yeah.
things.
There's different curry sauces though. Like if you went to an Indian takeout here, that curry sauce would be a complete world apart to a chip shop curry sauce. Two
Right.
very different sauces. Mint sauce that I'm talking about is very, very vinegary, which is probably why I love it so much. And
Okay.
it goes so well with a bit of lamb and some gravy. Like our gravy, obviously not your gravy with biscuits or whatever. But
That dark brown gravy, that good shit.
yeah, that's
The
the
shit you
stuff.
put on the
That's the
chips.
stuff. That's the
Yes.
shit.
All right. All right. We're on the same page now. Yes. I was talking to our guest that we're going to have on the 18th. He lives up in Manchester, and one of the things that I hear often, and it's not just Manchester, sometimes I hear it with you guys down south, is "and that."
Oh yeah, and that.
Pittsburgh as fuck. That is our shit.
Oh,
Yeah, dude. I was sitting there listening to him, and I've heard you say it, and I was like, man, there's people don't realize how much Pittsburgh or how much England is in Pittsburgh, especially when it comes to the language. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's like
kind
a
of
very
wild.
common UK thing. I think very, very common down here. Everything's
This and
got an
that.
at the end.
Yeah. Let's go. See, making connections in the holiday season, guys. Making connections. Just because he's wearing red doesn't mean we have to be dead.
At odds with each other.
Right? Oh, well, Reece, you congratulations. You got us on the first round.
We'll see you again at the Etihad.
We're going to see you again at the Etihad. I promise you, it's going to be a whole different story. Well, at least we hope so. Friend, thank you so much for being on with us and spending this bit and having a bit of a holiday with us. We really appreciate it, and I look forward to talking some more as the season goes on. Yeah, thank you very much.
Been a pleasure. Thank you, boys.
Not a problem. Everybody, go check out Reece on TikTok. Him and our friend, his best friend, Jack, have been doing some things on there. Go give him a shout. Reece, give him the plug.
So mine is at Reece H_912, REECE_H912. Jack's, I will have to find it out, and that can be dropped in the description.
I feel like it's J. I think it's I think it's like JW05. There it is.
JR Wattles or JW05, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'll DM
All right,
you
dude.
that one anyway.
Yeah, but that way, we can put it out and put you guys in a little thing. I think I'm going to steal one of your videos. Yeah, I was watching the you started doing this segment, and I caught the first one, and you had me laughing. You had me laughing.
Was that
the colors?
Yes. Yeah. Reece's unexplainable things.
Oh, dude, that shit was hilarious. Yeah, dude, keep doing that. That's good stuff. I can see something in that. Yeah, man. All right, dude. Merry Christmas. Love you. Until next time. And boom. I'm a dick. I love him though. I really do. I think he's gonna stay here with us.
That was a good time.
Yeah,
I needed that after today.
Yeah, it could have. Listen, we could have won a whole other way. We could have won a whole other way with it being a utter back and forth. We're better than you, but like that would have been absolutely just stupid for us to do and negligent to the club. And I can almost guarantee it. What's happening here? I can hear myself. Oh,
I think we're good.
That
now.
was Reece.
Yeah, he was finishing up, getting himself off. That was inappropriate. As soon as that left my mouth, Jesus.
Oh man, where's the comments for that one?
Yeah, Steve, you're welcome.
Where is the comment for that one? No. I was really, really happy that we got to get on with him and talk proper football because, like I said, this could have turned into a bitch fest. And I even said I was like, I'm really interested to see you and Joe talk because I've just got this feeling that it's going to be one of them where the tactical side gets up in it. And you guys are
it's all up in it.
You guys are more of the tacticians than I am. So I was hoping it would go that way, but I'm really happy it went the other way because I think that's one thing that we often forget, not only in football but in society, is being able to have a amicable conversation and it not be a shit slinging contest. Because that's more often than not what it turns into.
100%. Start talking to somebody about it, and whoever the winning side or whoever's feelings are in it the most has to throw a personal jab into it, and it just evolves from there, from having a actual discussion about the game, the match, whatever, and it just turns into insult fest, and people get all up in their feels, and it's just nice to be able to sit back and talk the game. And like we said at the beginning of the show, we're win, lose, or draw, it's still City till we die. We're going to show up whether we get smacked 4-0 against Tottenham or if we win 5-0, doesn't matter. We're going to be here. I took my I knew it was only a matter of time.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Proceed.
For the ammunition.
Proceed.
I took my 5 minutes of after the match was over just to sit there and feel the emotions of damn, we just lost again. This stretch sucks. I'm fucking annoyed. And I was like, let me just feel all that. Let me bring it in. And then when I get on the show, I'll be able to just talk and go through it and not feel so upset and angry about it. And that was exactly what I needed today. Just good talk about the match, no shit throwing at each other, and just I feel a lot better. And then at the end, we love this club, we love this game, but it is just a game at the end of the day. So you can't let it ruin the rest of your day and be in a shitty mood with everybody.
At 45 minutes, I already knew what was going to come. So I naturally, for my own sanity, I just started walking around the house singing, "We're fucking shit. We're fucking shit. We're fucking shit. We're fucking shit. We're fucking shit." Down here? Or were they up here? Down here?
We'll never know.
We will never, ever know. Listen, man, I had a wedge. It's sometimes the boxer briefs tend to ride up a little bit, all right? especially when I'm scooting around like this. I hope you heard the noise.
I did. I heard the squeak was in full effect. Yes. Yes, the squeak was in full effect.
Oh, holy shit.
Love it.
Oh, damn it. I forgot to upload something. So, where is it? Oh, there it is. I'm gonna put this in the scene.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now.
I wasn't trying to do it right then, so sorry for blasting your ears.
Quite all right.
But nonetheless, we are going to go into a halfway point break. And we'll come back and hit some city and community news. We got quite a little bit to talk about post doing all that, right? It's my fucking pet mouse. I felt like that sounded like Chris Kattan from
a little bit.
Roxbury.
Yes. That was the vibes you were giving just then. 100%.
We're going to break. When we come back, like I said, we'll do that. See you in a minute.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. I can't
Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly free?
mucho. So
Don't forget, I listen. I do it for the people. I do it for the people. So
they
I don't
come to
want you to
expect it
hear.
now.
Right? It's just become a weekly or episodely thing. Make sure we are doing our Black Friday sale until tomorrow by typing in Black Friday on checkout. You get 15% off each item. We do ship worldwide, and I think that covers that. So yeah, make sure you get that while it still lasts, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I might be shutting down the store before Christmas. Might be a little bit of a Grinch, not gonna lie. Yeah, that tends to happen. So in our random conversations that me, Joe, and Stu have, Stu made a reference in our conversation, and I had to remind him what 1996 Pornhub was like. Oh wait, it didn't exist, and we were still getting. I'm not allowed to say that on YouTube, am I? Oops. Not allowed to say the P word. Oh well, probably got canceled from the thing before, anyways. Anyway, but yeah, so we were talking about it. I had to remind him that like it took a while for things to download. So by the time you actually got to the video, you only had 0.5 seconds, anyways. So yeah, quick finishing is a trend, isn't it?
Is that the point of the whole thing? Is to get to that point? So like it's a race.
I mean, at that point, I mean, you'd already been hammering it to the half titty that was showing up anyways. So
get it done.
That's probably not allowed on YouTube too. Saying the T word, man.
How dare you? You could say everything else, but not that.
Right? I should have said breastises.
It's anatomically correct and scientific.
Right. I'm misogynistic probably too now at this point. Oh well. Let's get into some city and community news, shall we, Joe?
Let's do it.
So, guys, now that it's kind of just us talking about it, I have been saying this for fucking weeks now. We have been leaving our guys on a fucking island. This needs to fucking change. What the fuck do we need to do to get Pep to understand that the more times you do this and the result is still the same, that it is nothing more than insanity? What is it going to take, Joe?
Hopefully today was the breaking point, because I thought when seeing the back four that we had with Kyle, Akanji, Ruben, and Ake, he was going to go with more of a solid and solidarity with the back four and a little more defensive consistency back there. But it was more of the same of Kyle pushing very high, Akanji stepping into midfield, and Ake very wide on the left. Maybe not high, but he was very wide, and that just left acres of space for them to exploit, whether it was a through ball into it or just out and out pressing us, which most teams don't do. And we weren't quite ready for that because of the shape that, or the lack thereof of having any kind of a discernible shape, put our defenders in really bad positions because they didn't have a lot of outlet passes. They didn't have anybody really get the ball to. I saw a lot of people whinging about Kyle Walker not being able to play a forward pass. Guess what? There's got to be somebody there for him to pass it to, though. He can't just hit a forward ball just to hit it, because then otherwise it's just a giveaway. So yeah, he was going sideways a lot, as was Ake and Diaz and Akanji a lot of times, because there wasn't a lot of options because of the way the formation was set up today. So hopefully at this point we've seen enough that they decide to change it. And if you're going to play with a center back in the middle, we said it already, you got to have those outside fullbacks play essentially as center backs in and very narrow instead of being wide.
So my flight attendant signals to the center, too wide. Stay there.
So we got to back to basics. Keep it simple. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you hanging in with us, my guy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hanging out.
The rest of your evening, and we will talk soon.
Yes,
I hope with the return maybe of Stones and getting everybody back in, we can just plant him in that 6 role and just let it go from there. He's clearly our most like-for-like replacement for Rodri, and we got to find first consistency in a back four. Whoever's playing back there, we got to develop some kind of chemistry because it ain't there anymore because they haven't been able to play on a regular basis together. So we have to get some consistency with who's playing back there and figure out proper positioning. So they got to go back to the drawing board, and they got to go back to it quick because we play again on Wednesday. And Nottingham Forest isn't a pushover. So
No, they weren't the first time we played against them.
correct. So,
and that was only a few weeks ago. Let's not forget. It's been nothing but that. One thing I would like to touch on before we start going more into other things in the football world is I want to talk about oversimplifications. I feel like I touched a little bit on this last week. I'm going to say it again. A lot of people are saying that our entire midfield is old. No, it's not. No, it's not. Some aging players. So, like, can we get off of this whole, let me just put a blanket statement over it and call it something that it's not, because there's no truth or base to it. It's just your feelings in the moment. And I think all of us, especially in this big rut that we're in, need to check our emotions. Shit don't last forever. You heard it exactly out of a Scouser's mouth today on our podcast, saying he knows what City's capable of in the second half of this season. So do we. There's going to be a lot that's going to... There's still time. We've got a few more weeks left in the first half of the season. We go to Boxing Day, right? If we can squeak out some points in between now and then, we got a really packed schedule. Three games in a matter of 7 days, all league games, all tough games. You know, there's bound to be points made somewhere. You know,
yeah, they're going to drop. They've barely dropped any points. So
yeah, we go the following week. We don't have anything except Juventus. So, you know, maybe that's the point where we do really correct this ship and see a difference. We have to take into consideration the amount of injuries that we've had. It has been our Achilles heel this season so far. There's nothing that anyone can do about it.
Joe. Yes, an irrational amount of injuries have derailed us quite a bit. Typically in February, March is when...
Hold on, time out, 30 seconds. This summer preseason, we traveled quite a bit to get there. Thank you for coming into our chat.
We were at the North Carolina match and the Ohio game in Ohio, the Columbus match. And we were at the Green Bay one. So we do not get over to across the pond, obviously. We've talked about this previously on other pods. Financially, it is insane to book flights, do all that trip, and that is just not an option. But when they come to the U.S., again, this summer too, you can bet that we will be making the trek to be there. So when it's feasible in America, we are there, and we have shown that. So North Carolina atmosphere was pretty crap, to be frank. The Columbus game against Chelsea was much, much better. The ultimate experience was when we went to Green Bay. The first time Colby and I actually met was at the Green Bay match against Bayern, and that atmosphere was top tier. It was so much fun. So, yeah, appreciates the questions. If you are curious more, we have a website, probably down in the description. Read a little bit more about us. But thank you for jumping in and asking questions. Keep them coming.
Yes, sir.
But typically in like February, March is the mentality shifts to, because we've been down in the road before where we're down 8, 9, 10 points and we have to make a comeback, and we just go straight to one game at a time. That is all we can. We got to just start it earlier. We're starting it December 1st at this point. I don't want to hear about the league. I don't want to hear about any Champions League positions. All we need to focus on at this point, considering the run of form we've been on, is Nottingham Forest, and let's just get to that point. And then after that game's done, and it's stereotypical for sports world, but like that's really what we got to start doing. And as fans, it does no good, like Colby mentioned already, for everybody to get in their feelings and start posting hateful and rude and just negative ass shit all over the internet. That's not going to help. It's not going to make you feel any better. It's not going to help the squad. If you've been a part of a team, that is actually the opposite of what happens. When you hear all the outside noise and all the negativity, it just breeds more negativity. So as happy clapper as it sounds, you guys have to continue to back the boys, and especially now. Everybody feels like shit. You know, as crappy as most of the fans feel, I guarantee you the players and Pep feel even worse and upset and about everything. I don't want to hear people talking about how after the match the players were laughing and joking with the Liverpool players and high-fiving and didn't seem like they cared. Guess what happens as soon as they get in the tunnel and into the locker room? They let their emotions out and they get all pissy because they're mad. On the field, in front of all those people, you're not going to let an emotionally stable person is not going to let out all their frustrations in that moment. They're going to be a professional, shake hands with the other team, and then when it's just them in the locker room, they'll let it out.
Exactly. That's where it belongs, in the fucking locker room. Doesn't belong out on the pitch. Yeah, the match did get a little chippy today, and I mean, that's to be expected, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Not as bad as it's been with Arsenal. So
yeah, and it is what it is right now. There's nothing that we can do. We can sit here and we can boast and blah 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 about it all we fucking want, but at the end of the day, unless we're in that organization making those calls, it's nothing. We're nothing. We're just people on a screen. We're just fat fingers running across the keyboard, isn't it?
So let's just focus on Nottingham at this point.
Yeah, that's next game up. Next man up. Next man up. Next man up. We just stay focused on the next thing. Take into consideration what we have done wrong over these last 6-7 weeks and correct the ship in that manner and say, listen, like I said earlier, Pep's got to understand we cannot be leaving our center halves on a fucking island every single match and expect a different outcome. We are not as pacey as we used to be in the back. There is going to be a lot of change. Going to be excited for that change if this run continues. I can't say it any other way. But yeah, we move on. Let's also not forget, like we said before too, we've got people coming in at Javeri. I think we will see a massive flush out of players coming summer transfer, and I think it is high time for that now. We've been pushing. I know, for me personally, I've been pushing off that whole ideal for the last couple of seasons. When it came to Bernie, when it came to even Kyle last season, before he signed the extension, I mean, there was a part of me that was like, I can understand why, but then I was like, no, we still need him. And luckily, last year we did need him, but this year he's not showing himself. So you're going to expect him to be a part of that flush out. I think it's time that we look at what we did with Aymeric Laporte, and we do that in this winter break, bringing another defender in at this point in time, because it seems like that's where our weakest link is. It is in our defense, and it will continue to stay that way because we can't keep anybody healthy. Anybody.
That's exactly what happened when we brought in Laporte. Was we had just an absurd amount of injuries. We were playing Fernandinho at center back instead of his holding midfielder role. It's a very similar scenario back then. So I definitely think KDB not in January.
Not in January.
He'll see out the contract. They were just talking about, or he was just talking about. There haven't been any talks yet, but that's mostly because he's been strictly focused on trying to get himself and his body healthy so he can play a consistent run of matches. And once once they're ready to have discussions, the club and him will decide what's best for him, what's best for the club, and they'll go from there. And if he wants to stay, I'm sure they'll offer him a year extension. If he decides with his family that he's ready for a new journey, probably stateside over here more so than in Saudi, then at the end of the season he will probably go. But if that's the decision him and his family make, I'm not saying he's going. I'm just saying that would be the most likely scenario. But January, definitely not. We don't usually sell guys in January. That doesn't happen too often. Usually we'd bring someone in. I definitely think some defensive reinforcements are 100% needed. Maybe even find another midfielder at this point because we're having injury issues there too. And we could probably use some younger, fresher, maybe, somebody bigger because we have a lot of the same profile in midfield. They were mentioning one of the things on the broadcast on stateside, at least, that we were able to hear that I don't agree with the broadcast folks very often. But one of the things I did hear today, they were talking about how if you look on Liverpool's bench, they have, mostly because their majority are healthy, they have different size profiles. They have different style of players to bring in. Right now, in the midfield, we don't have a guy like a physical type presence in the midfield at this point. We have a bunch of smaller guys who are technically sound, work hard, all those kind of things, but we don't have somebody, mostly because one, Rodri's out, and then two, Stonesy is not there to help either. But I also think some Nunez situation would be a great option to play there. Now that our wingers are healthy again, I would love to see Nunez still in the mix and play him more centrally, whether it's as the 6 or an 8 or 10 with Phil. I would definitely like to see Nunez more centrally at this point. If he doesn't want to stay, would you rather cash in? For a player of Kevin's stature in the club, I wouldn't want to just cash in for a couple $1 million. We're not hurting for money like that. So I would like to see a replacement come in soon. But for him, for everything that he's meant for this team, this club, these players, exactly. He's earned the right to. Yeah, he's earned the right to go out on his terms. If he says, "Hey, I'm ready to go," which I don't think would happen, but if he says, "Hey, let's just do it now," then that would be a different story. But I don't see that happening.
I will say this, and I will echo something that. Okay. I will echo something that Hollywood Kipak said, specifically Alex said. I want to say it was close to the beginning of the season, maybe somewhere in the summer, about the potential of Kev coming over here and playing in the MLS for the San Diego club, because he has family ties there in Southern California. With the way that things could go, right? This is all speculation. We don't know any which way or the other. We can only go off of what we see. And yeah, I can now see that being more and more of a realistic idea, because not only does he have family ties, but I believe, if I heard through the winds, that there's going to be something that's going to be getting put in place with the Saudi leagues and FIFA about them capping what they are asking or are offering to these players, because it's absurd type of money, and it's really not. It's not feasible for the model. That model will break down over the course of 20 years if you continue to spend money on these big name players who are at the end of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Moreover, the fact, if you understand where Kev's from, the ideals aren't really the same. So I see, if he were to leave City, yes, he would probably end up going to an MLS club, specifically the San Diego one. And I downplayed that, and I want to apologize to Alex outright about saying, "No, that wouldn't happen. He wouldn't come here. He'll stay with City and hang his boots up." If he doesn't want to hang his boots up, I can now see that. So, shout. He's undoubtedly the greatest PLCM ever. Watching him live was fantastic. It was in the cup. I think you won 4-1. Yeah. I mean, like I said, he's been a pillar of this club ever since he's really come in. and his services have been paramount. It's going to be a sad day when he goes. There's none of us who truly want him to leave. We also just understand the way that football works, and you have to understand that there is a time and place when somebody's got to go because they're no longer the same caliber that they once. That's called growing up. That's called getting old. Like, nothing we can do about that. I hope, as they've done with a lot of recent players, they give him the accolades there around in and around the stadium that he so very much deserves. He from his journey through Wolfsburg, Chelsea, and then into us. Everybody counted him out before he even got to City, and look at the body of work he's produced. You can't deny that. So kudos to you for recognizing that. That's
and getting to see him live in a cup competition. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. Like,
that's dope.
One day.
We got to see him in Green Bay, but in a summertime friendlies, different vibes and intensity level than in a
especially with the way the field was. Oh yes. My God. Oh, listen. Okay, so you are, sir, you're brand new to us here. Thank you again for showing up today. Little bit of information on this specific match in Green Bay. By far and away the skinniest 11 size pitch I've ever seen in my life.
Very, very narrow pitch.
Like it was like it was drinking skinny margaritas all summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very odd to watch on there, but the ambiance and it was really the weather. It was the weather that made that whole match for us, dude. We ended up having to go on 2 separate breaks for weather, and they were back to back to each other, basically, which forced us all because of lightning, which forced us into the tunnels. Man, City chants echoed around Lambeau Field, and it was beautiful, beautiful. It's getting big over here, man. It really is. It's getting super big over here. I'm super proud of. All the different companies are finally starting to catch on to this and make it more of a thing here in the States. I mean, for us, we're breeding the real first generation supporters of our club, the club we choose. Like, and they're just as into it. My son today, I don't think I've ever seen him more into a match in his entire life, unless he's been playing himself. Right. And getting to see that angle of it, and even with your family, Joe, how much Steph has gotten into it, and obviously the girls, it's really great to see the sport blossoming.
Would love we don't to
live near Miami.
and when Inter Miami travel to the other MLS sides, the ticket prices for those games skyrocket to like $300, $400, $500.
2,000%
a seat
ticket increase
for one seat. So, haven't been fortunate enough to see him play live over here now that he's playing for Miami. Mostly because the ticket prices when he shows up are outrageously expensive. So
yeah, we might get to see him in the World Cup.
This is true.
We might get to see him in the World Cup.
Yes.
I saw that he actually just is. He was looking to sign an extension. Holy fucking shit! Look who the fuck that is. Finally!
J.O.
Hello, sir. Nice to see you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, dude. So my dad actually lives right next to Inter Miami Stadium. But what I was saying before that, he actually is about to, if he hasn't already, signed an extension with Inter Miami to stay with the MLS, which is only going to bolster the league. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
But we will still firmly sit on the part of, until there's promotion and relegation here in the States between the MLS, the USL, and the other league that's in the States, it's really not it's not worth the watch, because a lot of these games they're playing meaningless fucking games. But the lower seeded teams or the lower teams on the table, it's like watching American football. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't agree with that part of it. There's going to be a lot of big changes before it is ever taken seriously, especially to us as Americans, ones who really understand and know the game and love the game and want it to be pure. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot
The
of
best version of itself.
yeah, there's a lot of impurities in the U.S. model, specifically rooting to the grassroots level. Me and Joe both see it because our kids both play at the EDP level, which is one of the top levels here in the States. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, the small size pitches. I get it in some aspects. It is a lot of running, especially if you're at 5-a-side. But when you start getting into the 7v7, 9v9 play, I still feel that regular size pitches should be the standard, because if it's the standard there in the FA, it should also be the standard here in the CONCACAF and all the other fucking. If everywhere else is doing it and we're not, like, what does that look like? What does that look like to the world? It's not our game, and I stand behind that, and I will stand behind that till I'm blue, till I'm dead. Yeah, I will. Joe's been in it a little bit longer, so he may have a little bit different take on it. I don't know.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Watching mine go from the 7v7 to 9v9 to 11v11 size, the 9v9 transition is like a holding pattern. It's like, when can we just get to 11v11?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can understand at like 8 and 9 playing on this particular size pitch with the size goals that they have, to help learn a little bit more, I guess. But this, because oftentimes when they go from 7v7 9v9, most places don't have the ability to have, because there's 3 separate size fields that are outlined in US soccer. It's 7v7 size, a 9v9 size, and then 11v11. Most places don't have or don't want to put the resources into creating the correct size field for each age group. So oftentimes 7v7 kids are either playing up on a bigger pitch, which is the same size as the 9v9 fields, or the 9v9 kids are also playing 9v9 but on the smaller pitch, and they just use the same size because they don't want to put the resources into having the correct number of fields for all sizes. So when you're in that 9v9 age group, you got more kids, but it's still a small pitch, and it's
That's
often
a new
difficult,
word.
Right?
Spitch.
It's hard for them to learn the game appropriately when there's more kids on the field, but you're playing the same size as like you were before, because it just is overcrowded, and the formations are different at that age. Like, at least with 7v7, you kind of have like a somewhat coherent transition there with the formation that you're playing. It kind of translates a little bit. With 9v9, you're like, the different formations you can play, and oftentimes people are just playing to win. They're not trying to like actually teach the kids anything,
Right?
So it's just a mess. So I really am not a big fan of the 9v9 size. I would rather just go straight into
11.
Go to 11s and quickly, because the tail end of 9v9 size was brutal when the girls were clearly ready to move to the bigger field and everybody was still playing on that size. It was like, come on.
He wants to know, Silva was especially poor today recently too.
He's getting played out of position.
Yeah.
Today he was being asked to play a holding midfielder role, it's not his best position, or he's playing as a winger, or he's playing as a 10. Like, he's being asked to play all over the place. So it's just, for me, it's a similar problem that all of them are having. There's no consistency of lining of where they're playing and who they're playing with. So it's really hard to develop chemistry, even if you've been around the same guys for a long time. It's hard to develop any kind of chemistry with folks when you're playing in different positions and have different roles and responsibilities consistently. So
I see him, excuse me. I see him being a bit of a Dino right now. I don't know how I feel about him going forward, especially into the transfer. I mean, he's still under contract, so not a lot I can really do or say there. I mean, he does do his job, but just as Joe said, like, he's being asked to do a lot. He literally played from the back line to the front line today, and he doesn't need to be exacerbating himself to that point. Rico should have been that person, Mr. Roamabout. He should have been the one that was kicking back and filling those slots when Bernie was there, not Bernie. Bernie should have stayed in the attack. As far as what I think for the future, is he starting to wear thin in the side a little? There's also been the idiotic uproars that he's leaving, or that he wants to leave. He'll leave when he's ready, and when they say that he's ready. I trust the front office to do the right thing. Is he probably in line for that refresh that I'm talking that most people are talking about? It's possible. And that refresh is not going, or that refresh, whatever you want to call it, it's not going to be all in one transfer. It's got to be over the next two. You need some of these players to kind of get into the new players' ears and say, hey, listen, this is how Pep wants it done. I know I'm on my way out, but if I'm going to hand this club off in my position to you, I need for you to understand what is needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gundo also has not been great, but that's also because he's being asked to play a lot more minutes than I think we were anticipating him having to play, and in different positions as well. When they brought him back, Rodri was fully fit, and he was going to be playing the 6, and Gundo, everybody was somewhat healthy at the beginning when they brought him back, and he was going to be asked to pull as like a super sub, come in when we needed him, not start too many games. But because of the amount of injuries that we've had at this point, he's had to start damn near every game because we just don't have the bodies. And if he's having to start this many games and matches for us as a 6, that's not what's best, putting him in the best position to be successful, because that's not what he is anymore. He doesn't have the legs to run there or size profile to play. So what we needed him and what we brought him back for was to provide, super sub minutes, come in, see games out for us. If we needed a late goal, be somebody that can make a deep lying run for the midfield and bag one for us. But we're having to play him from the very beginning of every match at this point, and a lot of matches recently because of the injuries, like I said. So it's not a recipe for success when you're asking so many players to play out of character and out of position and being asked to do different roles that they're not necessarily best suited for. So it's just a compound of issues at this point.
To be fair, he has in recent matches shown flashes of his previous self, which has been nice. Maybe he's just getting more comfortable, understanding that he is to what is most considered old in this game, or getting old. So, and just like Joe said, his legs ain't what they used to be. And as many surgeries as that man has had, I mean, you can't really expect a lot at 33. I certainly don't. I think that he's a patchwork piece, much the way that Mateo Kovacic is, until we find, scout, and target somebody who is a viable replacement, which I think is coming soon. I think a lot of what's about to happen in the transfer window with other teams is going to allot us some options when it comes to specific midfielders. The likes of Xavi Simons, Jamal Musiala. There's a lot of possibility in there. My big thing, especially with the Jamal Musiala thing, is how is that going to affect Phil Foden moving forward if that decides to become a reality? Which I don't want to put a lot into that basket yet. I think it would be a good fit, but I also am wondering how that's going to affect other players in the squad, namely our homegrown. Yeah,
Agreed.
it's going to be an interesting year for us. You know what I mean? I don't really think at this point there should be a lot of expectation from the team. Not because we're not capable of it, but because the added pressure is kind of nonsensical. We understand where we're at. We understand the moves that need to be made. We just need to patch it until the season's over, and do our best to achieve what we set out to achieve. And that's at least winning the title again. With Champions League, the Feyenoord match, at the very least, we put points on the board. Considering that previous to that, four matches, we had not scored a goal. So it was a move in the right direction. Wasn't the result that was needed, but also I'm not scared of that competition right now. I think that even if we do end up in that playoff bracket, we'll see our way through. Because there's not, as we continue to get healthier, there's not really a lot in our way in the middle of that table for us to be shaking in our boots about. Like, the only squad that has really shown itself in that two squads, I'll say, is Brest and Liverpool. Liverpool look unstoppable right now. And if that's the case, that's the case. But I can't see that one lasting either. There's a lot of controversy rolling around with Mo Salah's contract or lack thereof. So, that could be their year off maybe coming. Maybe. So, FIFA announced that they're going to do the dumbest fucking thing in the world. They're going to put the World Cup in the winter in Saudi Arabia in 2034, which will then further congest a probably already busy schedule for a city side, hopefully, in 2034. a whole 10 years from now.
A decade later.
A whole decade later. What FIFA? What?
We already know what the deal is with that organization. Comes down to the cheddar. They showed that when Qatar, however you say it, got awarded the World Cup in 2022, and they moved it to the wintertime to screw up everybody else's schedule to make it work for them, because they had the most money. So that organization is 100% corrupt. We all know this already, and it comes down to who can grease the wheels the best, and Saudi's got an ass load of money, so here we are.
Waiting for the oil jokes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah. Doesn't sit right. Doesn't sit right at all. Another part of World Cup or FIFA news, we did get the dates announced for Club World Cup this coming summer here in the United States. They look to be between July 13th or 15th, or excuse me, June 13th or 15th till July the 17th, if I remember correctly. I'm literally going off of photographic memory. It's a little distorted right now.
June 15th to July 13th. Yes. Well done.
So I have a little dyslexia.
You had the numbers correct. It was just in a different order. Yes.
Right. That's dyslexia. Yeah. So that coming up this summer, now we kind of know, we have a better picture as to the window of matches that will be coming for this competition. We are super, super, super excited. We haven't got to talk to the homies across the pond yet. We'll be having them here in the coming weeks. So we will be talking about it a bit, but in the DMs, haven't really talked much about it, but we are looking seriously to meet up with all of our fellow podcasters coming from across the pond and those who like to come in and sit in our comments. If you are going to any one of the World Cups, we'd love to meet up, Club World Cups matches. We would love to meet up with you. I'm fairly certain I will be going to at least one of the matches at Audi Field with my kids' club as a part of a team bonding experiment, if you will. They'll get to see their first, many of them will get to see their first professional matches. And I'm really excited about that, of getting the youth to see a real live game in person and really get to take up that
Soak
thing.
it in.
But then, yeah, exactly. Like they desperately need it at this age. And I know that at this age, it's very hard for the young of a mind, especially a boy, to be able to sit down and watch a whole match. But I think once being there and seeing it and being in the atmosphere, it will captivate them. I'm super excited about that. So we'll definitely be there in DC for that one, being that DC is our home base. If we make it, we will be going to New York. Even if we don't go to the game, I will tailgate
the atmosphere.
I will tailgate and watch it out there, and we can all party. For the people who can't get in, bring the booze. We gonna need it.
We'll hang out in the parking lot with a TV in the back of the old truck and
there you go.
Enjoy ourselves in a different way.
Holy shit! I really could do that now. I have like a plug.
That's what I'm saying.
I got a plug in my truck that I just run the extension out the back window, put the TV on the fucking in the bed.
Then screencast that joint from the phone. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, dude.
And we are out there.
So we've got backup plans to the plans. Indeed. I don't care if that parking pass costs $80.
That bad boy
might
up.
Be on the cheap.
That sounds great.
That might be on the cheap. God knows, fucking New York is expensive as shit. Yeah, that's gonna for a lot of you who do want to travel over here. If you have questions about coming to the Club World Cup and the city sites and where to stay, where not to stay, please feel free. Give us a shout. Between the both of us, we've done a lot of traveling up and down the East Coast. I know Joe has quite a bit because of his travels back home to Maine. Me, myself, I used to work for the airline, so I've done quite a bit of traveling myself. I have seen many, many cities and toured around many, many of those cities, not just stayed in an airport. So I got some good intel. We got some good intel for you if you are traveling abroad to watch these matches.
Hit us up.
Yeah, just hit us up. One little final thing. Joe and I played against each other in fantasy this week.
Bro, yesterday, I thought I had that shit in the bag when I saw Kluivert got 3 fucking PKs and had put up a 43 burger. And then at the end of the day, Saturday, I was still projected to lose. I was like, how is this humanly possible? One of my players put up 43 and I'm still projected to lose. I don't understand this.
Yeah, well, homeboy, this one right here, had to run to the store. And right as I was running the store was when the lineup came out. And then at which point, none of us saw Ortega starting today.
Nope.
Not one of us actually saw that happening. Even with the miscues of Kyle in the Feyenoord match. Or not Kyle, excuse me, Ederson. Broadcast will end in 6-5-4. Damn.
It does this every time at 2 hours, but it still continues going.
Still continues? Oh, okay, cool. Damn, we've been on here 2 hours. We about to get off here. We about to get off here. Yeah, so yesterday, he had me beat. And then I started coming back. And I fucked myself. Nobody saw Ortega coming on. I had Pickford in, who let 4 go by him. And then I really saw Savio and Nunes starting in this one, and I figured there's at least some points in there for me with that. And
They
then,
both came on and got you 6 total between the two.
yeah, I mean, it was a little bit better, but like I left 13 and a half points from Eze on the bench, which, I mean, even at the extra 13, it would have been like a 15-point disparity. Joe edged me out 109.75 to 80.75. Congratulations, Main Road Marauders.
My team's still ass, so
My team's not. My team is not ass, and I suck. I am now what's it now? I'm now 5-7, and I am sitting in the shit bowl right now.
you're with me at 5-7 then.
Yeah, well, I don't understand.
The scoring is still very confusing, so we're gonna have to sort that out before next year.
Stu, you need to figure that out, bro. You need to figure that out because on paper,
When in doubt, blame Stu.
right? I mean, he does wear the commissioner badge on that table for that league. So
My team should not be ass, but it is.
no, it shouldn't. But I think one of the things that killed you was Isaac getting hurt early.
My defense has been atrocious every week. I get no production
who
from
are
my
you telling?
my defenders.
Who are you telling? I have more City players from defense than anybody's got.
I got 2 of them and 2 Arsenal players and get next to no points. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I understand why I'm not getting points because our defense sucks. Our defense is utter shit. I said it. I don't care.
They are right now, so
They're
all it
shit.
is what it is, man.
They're fucking shit. They're fucking shit.
Won't always be like that though, lads. We'll come out of it at some point. Be it this season or we take our L's on the chin this year and we revamp over the summer. So beautiful thing about sports. Always got a new opportunity the following season. So
yeah. Well, Joe, take us home.
Well, y'all could have been anywhere in the world on a Sunday evening or afternoon, depending on where you're watching, but you chose to spend your time with us. So thank you very much for the time and being here with us. While you're here, if you're re-listening, don't forget to hit the like. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us on YouTube. Follow us across all those socials at Snobby Pod. You can find them on X, YouTube, Rumble, Insta, all these things. You know where to find us. Most importantly, you who listen to us know where we are because you probably already like and subscribe and all those things. But what we need y'all to do is to bring in your homies and share where we are so they can come find us too, because you clearly like spending time with us because we're getting a regular collection of people jumping in with us on our Sundays and Wednesday shows. So you know it's a good time. Go tell your friends. Come have a good time with us too. We appreciate that. And to the new folks who jumped in today, our friend A Peculiar Slav, if I'm saying it right, thank you for finding us for your first time and jumping in the comments. Don't be shy. Do what he did. If you're new, throw comments in. It's okay. We're friendly. So jump in with us.
Even if the initial comment comes off a little sideways.
It's hard to decipher context on while you're in midstream and then reading comments while you're kind of jazzed up about a topic. So
right,
bear with us on that.
Especially, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you let in with have you ever seen a match? And I was like, listen.
And he was generally curious when was the last time we had gone. So that's good. So thank you for your support. We appreciate y'all. New ones coming. Do your part. Share us out. All the things we just talked about. Like, subscribe, drop us comments. And then we will be back Wednesday to recap the Nottingham Forest match with the homie from Citizens Fancast, Mr. Evan, will be joining us on Wednesday night. Which I think, if memory serves, because I don't think he's done a show with on his channel since the baby has been born. So this might be his first appearance as an official new dad. So we'll see how the old eyes are looking underneath.
Yeah.
See how tired this dude is looking. So I'm very excited to talk the city stuff with him, but I'm even more excited just to get to sit down in front of a camera and see each other and just talk and see how he's doing with the new life scenario of being a proud papa of another new next generation City fan. So check us out Wednesday night with our boy Evan, and jump in the comments with us. Thank you for being with us tonight.
For sure. Till then, we'll do this one. Peace out, you snobby son of a bitches. Oh, I gotta let the solo go, man.
Have to.
Yeah. Bye.